What does a good teacher look like? What skills and values do I need to possess in order to be a positive influence on the students I teach? The answer to these questions will be different depending on who is on the receiving end of them. For me, a good teacher is someone who holds core teaching values and is looking to provide an open and equal learning space with opportunities for all. This is something I experienced during my own college experience, and this has helped me form who I want to be as a provider of education. To be a teacher who has a positive influence and impact on the future generation of learners, there has to be core teaching and learning philosophies that form the basis of their teaching styles. It is important to have a set of philosophies on which the foundations of lesson planning and learning can be built. Creativity, responsibility, entrepreneurship, ambition, teamwork and equality. These are the philosophies that I feel closely represent the ideas of teaching that I am striving to provide. I was always taught to think outside of the box by my old teachers at sixth form. Based on the teaching I received by one teacher in particular, I now feel that his relationship with us as his students was a key component in my passion for the subject. He always had an open attitude with myself and other students within the classroom, allowing us to ask or answer any questions surrounding the topic, even if it might not be correct. He always turned us in the right direction and never made us feel stupid about any of the questions asked. He taught me to never hide the work that I wanted to create and never be afraid to be original. To be able to allow a creative space for students to think and learn is crucially important for any teacher, not just in media. Students need the ability to exercise their imagination and allow their personal experience to influence the work that they create. Being able to increase motivation and develop the way the student thinks is imperative, and providing satisfactory outcomes where recognition can be gained. Using artistic resources to teach the next generation of media creators will have a high impact on the students, as each resource created will be made precisely for the topic of media. Using terms and reasonings the students will understand and easily apply that knowledge found in long-term situations within the media industry. These philosophies and resource approaches that I want to put into practice with my teaching follow professional standards 3 and 4, inspiring the students' desire to follow their own route into the media industry, all while having the creative flair of a media practitioner. As much as my aim is to influence my students throughout my teaching, self-directed learning for my subject is just as important. Media is a subject where you'll learn more by being practical, taking part in the creative process, research, having ambition to see the creative project through, and taking responsibility for their own mistakes and success. This relating back to my 6 philosophies. The self-directed learning model focuses on 4 individual components that will allow students to progress, have self-management, self-monitoring, self-modification, and self-motivation. Knowles describes self-directed learning as a process in which individuals take the initiative without the help of others in diagnosing their learning needs, formulating goals, identifying human and material resources, and evaluating learning outcomes. Whereas some adults are highly dependent on a teacher for structure, some are independent, self-directed learners. The same is true for motivation. Adults can be externally motivated to learn. Motivation is key when undertaking any type of work or project, and it can be very easy to slip behind if you lose motivation. In Knowles' book, The Adult Learner, it references Lindeman's assumptions that motivation is represented within adult learners, need an experience that will satisfy their needs, completing activities suitable for their learning capacity, and need to be self-directed learners. Cognitive feedback is crucial in allowing the students to understand feedback that is given and the steps needed to put this into practice, allowing them to continually improve their work. Bloom's taxonomy is a 6-tier system that allowed the step-by-step framework that is necessary to put the skills and abilities into practice for students to reach their learning goals. Bloom's theory is also important for teachers to acknowledge, thus establishing pedagogical interchange between student and teachers, building relationships in trust and understanding that myself as a teacher are there purely to help bring out the best in the student and reach their goals they aim for. As important as creating a piece of work for assessment is, it's the way in which the teacher assesses and creates feedback for the students that will result in them actually improving their knowledge of the subject. Media is a subject that is split into 2, practical and theory, each just as important as the other. Theory is taught to understand the reason as to why media is created, and the practical is important to understand how the theories are put into practice alongside the student's individual creative view. Having studied media for over 5 years myself, I have always been taught in the style of assessment for learning. For a media degree, I feel that this style is the most effective in producing good results. As most media curriculums focus on multiple sub-subject areas, assessment for learning will allow to identify at-risk students earlier, adjusting teaching styles for those who need it, as well as monitoring student progress as the course goes on. Receiving feedback on a regular basis using the style of assessment for learning rather than assessment of learning will allow the students to identify work that needs improvement and work towards achieving their deserved grades at the end of each academic year. With there being a stereotype surrounding media that many feel it is a purely creative course, it's crucial for me to embed into my students the importance of English and maths within the subject too. I aim to ensure that there is a level of both English and maths within my teaching that provides a less intense continuation of study whilst also improving skills that are important when pursuing jobs in the industry. As important as it is to be a good teacher, without understanding and undertaking my roles and responsibilities correctly, I will not complete my duties to the title of a good teacher, nor would I be someone who will be accepted by institutions, and neither would I want to be accepted if I can't provide the best for my students and future media practitioners who will change the future of media. There are 6 main roles and responsibilities that I will follow, each supporting each other and collectively capturing my own success as a post-16 teacher. These follow as: following the policies of the college. Each institute will have their own rules that teachers have to comply with. This can be anything from how you perform as a teacher to meeting the goals of the chosen curriculum. Organisational skills. A teacher's job doesn't finish at the end of the school day. Planning lessons, assessing work, and writing feedback all takes time to make sure that each student is receiving everything that they need to expend their knowledge on the subject in the most efficient way possible. Keeping up to date with subject knowledge. In order for students to learn about past and upcoming media relations, I need to keep up to date with the subject knowledge. If I don't do my own job of researching the next generation of media, how are my students supposed to learn the new skills or theories to use themselves as future creatives? Inclusivity and diversity. I want to push each of my students to be as creative as they can be, no matter of their age, gender, sexuality or race. Each student will be treated inclusively, providing only the best resources to tailor each student's needs. Safeguarder. Making sure that each student is gaining the correct knowledge they need for the chosen subject is just as important as safeguarding. Ensuring that any of the students' needs or troubles outside of studying are taken into consideration and helped by myself or higher-up staff. And finally, being the leader. Being a teacher in ways is like sailing the seas. The classroom is my ship and I am the captain. There will be highs and lows with understanding of work and achieving goals, but as the leader I will take control and make sure that everything goes to plan and my students receive everything that they need in order to succeed. By following my own philosophies and roles and responsibilities, I will lead my students with 3 Ps: passion, patience, and perseverance to create the next generation of media practitioners.